everyone thinks that they are invincible, that nothing could possibly harm them, that misfortunes only happen to individuals in TV commercials. What surprises people, however, is that life can change in the blink of an eye, and the unthinkable can happen. Hi, I'm Ahava, and in my sophomore year of high school, just 2 years ago, I woke up blind. The cause? Neuromyelitis optica, or NMO. Since neuromyelitis optica has an acronym, I decided to inform you guys about this autoimmune disease in the form of its acronym, going from need to know, my story, and we'll end up on some, oh, cool, facts about this autoimmune disease. So here are some things you need to know about NMO. Neuromyelitis optica, or NMO for short, is an autoimmune disease. It's a demyelinating autoimmune disease. Your B cells, which are part of your immune system, attack and fight off and eat away your myelin sheath, which is the cover of your optic nerves. The optic nerves connect your eyes, tracks that go over in your brain. They eat the fatty tissue away, and they also eat away your parts of your spinal cord. According to the Essentials of Human Anatomy and Physiology, 10th edition, neuro is nerve, myelo is the spinal cord, itis is inflammation, and optica is another fancy way of saying optic nerves. So, internally, it causes the demyelination, so the getting rid of the myelin sheath, and lesions, which are big holes in the spinal cord. Externally, it presents itself with blindness, paralysis, tremors, usually death. So how do I know about this? Well, that's because I live with it. And that feeds into my story. On December 24th, 2012, I woke up at a friend's house with woke up at a friend's house with a really bad headache. And I blamed it on the fact that I had gotten 5 hours of sleep. So I went on my merry way, went home, didn't really think about it, just a headache. The next morning was Shabbos. And I woke up, and I had a terrible headache and a little bit of blurry vision. And at this point, I didn't wear glasses. So I went to my parents, and I said, there's something wrong with my eyes. And if I said that I need to go somewhere on Shabbos, my parents, they're like, oh my goodness, crisis, let's alert social, let's just get the police involved. So we went to the ophthalmologist, please, thank God we're not involved. Went to the ophthalmologist took a look, and he said, congratulations, you have a really bad migraine. He gave me some meds, and off I went back home. Sunday, February 26th, 2012. I woke up at 4:13 in the morning, and it felt as if boulders had been replaced behind my eyes. I was in such pain. My parents took me to the local emergency room, Beaumont Hospital, and there they ran MRIs and a bunch of other blood tests to try to figure out what was going on. They ran an MRI, and it showed inflammation of the optic nerves, giving a diagnosis of optic neuritis. Yay, cool, like we have the diagnosis. Wrong, we don't have a diagnosis. Optic neuritis needs to be triggered by something. So, doctors tried to do a lumbar puncture. Does anyone know what a lumbar puncture is?
It's in your bones, right? The back?
Close. It's a spinal tap. They take a really long needle and they extract the white blood cells from right here. And I emphasize the word try because I ended up kicking the doctor in the face. In my defense, they missed 4 times, so they had it coming. That being said, I was admitted for a week inside of the hospital. I was admitted for a week with blurry vision, terrible headache, and a white blood cell count of 4, which is low, or a little elevated, but like cool. I could have been fighting off a cold or whatnot. I was released and out for 2 weeks. And the reason I was only out for 2 weeks is because my body started to fail me. I went to bed one night with a fever, and I woke up the next morning blind. Completely dark. Completely blind. Went to bed another night with a fever, and woke up the next morning and I developed tremors, which was the Tourette's that I spoke about before, resurfacing. I was volunteering at a friendship circle on the Sunday program. My parents picked me up. I left early. I developed a fever, became very lethargic in the car, fell asleep. When my parents drove me home, I couldn't walk. Felt as if jackhammers were banging into the bones of my legs. I stopped bearing weight. And then, a few days later, I was at the University of Michigan trying to get a second opinion, and I lost the ability to pee. I lost all bladder function. While at U of M, it had been 12 hours since I had last peed. They ran more tests. And what they found was astounding. They ran a full body MRI, and it showed big holes in my C-spine, which is your cervical spine. It also showed more inflammation of the optic nerves and the complete demyelination of the myelin sheath. They also ran another lumbar puncture, in which I did not kick the doctor in the face. But that showed an elevated white count of 92, which could mean one of two things: cancer or dying. I was sent home with the instructions to go to the local hospital in the morning if I still couldn't pee. Next morning rolls around, got up, no, couldn't pee. So I spent another 2 weeks in the hospital, the local hospital, Beaumont. And my 2 weeks were packed with occupational therapy, physical therapy, plasmapheresis, which is an operation, like a little scar here, an operation where they put a tube in a person's carotid artery, they take their blood out, they get rid of the plasma, and then they put the blood back into the person's body. With that, I was able to get up on a walker. It was decorated with a Cookie Monster backpack and some green duct tape, and I was like rocking it. But also with that, I was able to plan a Pesach Seder the entire pediatric school. 2 weeks later, or after the 2 weeks of being in the hospital, I was discharged and sent to Rochester, Minnesota, where the Mayo Clinic, which is the top hospital in the world, to try to figure out what was wrong with me. At this point, doctors had told my parents, expect the worst, she's dying. And I was like, no, I'm gonna get my driver's license, not fair. So we went to Mayo Clinic, and on April 13th, 2012, I met with Brian G. Weinshenker, who is the head and leading neurologist for patients with NMO and multiple sclerosis. There, I remember sitting in his office, still blind, still using a walker, was finally able to pee, with scrub pants and a blue friendship circle hoodie. And as I sat there, he was sitting at his desk. He said these exact words: although your blood tests continuously come back negative, I do believe you have neuromyelitis optica. It was like a punch to the stomach. Being diagnosed with anything, it's a punch to the stomach. So he continued on talking about treatments and other options, and saying that there was a new chemo drug on the market and all these other things. My head was nowhere near there. I was just diagnosed with a disease that is most prevalent in Japanese men over the age of 60. I was 15. So I guess that leads to the next and final segment of, oh, cool. Neuromyelitis optica, or NMO, is very rare. 500,000 people in the world have it. 500,000 people. So, well, before that, in America alone, as of April 13, 2012, there are 1,000 Americans living with NMO and 451 children. I was the 451st in the United States to be diagnosed as a child, so pat on my back. But if you put this into context, neuromyelitis optica if the entire world were playing dodgeball, everyone in the world, you know the country of Belize? It's really small. Not many people live there. 500,000 people live in Belize. So if the world was playing dodgeball, and it was NMOers versus non-NMOers, people who have NMO versus people who don't, it would be the country of Belize versus 3 of China's. 3 of China's against little Belize. We're maybe small numbers, but we're hella powerful. I can say that. And the reason why we're so powerful is thanks to an organization called the Guthrie Jackson Foundation, which is based in California. Allie Jackson was diagnosed in 2008 with neuromyelitis optica. And at that point, the only option was death. So, her parents, Victoria Jackson and Bill Guthrie, decided to start their own charitable cause, thus the Guthrie Jackson Foundation. Since 2008, they have raised $35 million going towards research and help support individuals with NMO. Got that off of their website. And also, they host every single year since 2009, they host patients who have NMO in their house. And there's an entire weekend conference talking about different treatment options and different cures, everything along these lines. They also sell really cool shirts. But all in all, why am I telling you about this? And the answer comes in 2 parts. The first part is, this is an informative speech, right? Informative speech. Yeah. So I found we should speak informative speech. So I'm informing you about this disease. This disease is rare. You can go your entire life, you would go your entire life without knowing about this. But since it's so rare, it's so important for people to know about it. The second reason is because I'm celebrating a very, very important day. On December 18th, 2012, when doctors said that I'd be blind the rest of my life, when they said I would have to bring a portable catheter to self-catheterize because I wouldn't be able to pee on my own, when doctors said that I'd end up dead in a few years. On December 18th, 2012, I was put into remission. And so, this coming Thursday, I will be celebrating 2 years of remission. And now that you guys all know about this, you too will be celebrating. And in the words of Jay-Z,